so we are going to review Smartsheets and how to enter in new funding distribution changes with our new system. So what I'm going to talk through is give you an overview of what the spreadsheet looks like, and then how to put in any changes, and also how to add in new speed types. So where we're starting out here is if you've already made a Smartsheet account and you've chosen your own funding distribution sheet. So once you go through the video that HIP made about starting an account, then you'll have access to this spreadsheet. If you're a manager, you'll also have access to the rest of your project team's spreadsheets, but we'll start with just focusing on our own. So to give you an overview, it's going to look pretty similar to how it did before. It's just going to be online. So you'll, over here on the left, we have general information about the employee and about the individual speed types and projects. Just so you know, we have it set up like this so that we can, it's pretty much set up like a database, so we can combine all of the spreadsheets easily, and we can easily run reports, say if you need to know who is hitting which speed types and at what percentage. So that's why we have these repetitive numbers. So going from left to right, we have the employee ID, position number, the department. So we, in some cases, the speed type or the project might be for a different department. So it's important for us to know that. And then we have the employee's name, and that's going to be attached to your account. So it's actually like it's tagged. Next, the type of funding. So this is if it's grant funded, if it's teaching, CAIN department funds, or other. And the lead PI, as well as the speed type name, and then of course the speed type number. So over here, we have the actual distributions, and we've shown you two different fiscal years, and that's because we understand that a lot of projects go across multiple fiscal years. So this will give you the chance to show the full project year, even if it goes into fiscal year 2025. You'll have each percentage for each speed type, and then it'll add up. So these are just adding to here. So if you are 1 FTE as I am, it'll add up to 100. If someone is less than 1 FTE, it'll add up to that amount. So these are going to be, percentages are based on the percentage of time, even if you're not at 1 FTE. So in the gray, it'll show funding cliffs. So that's when the speed type ends, and we can no longer put funds on that speed type. So go over. Here is some additional information about the speed type. And some of this might be helpful, some of it might not be as helpful, but we try to include information that will help both you with project planning and the fiscal team. So for average effort for the current project year, this needs to actually be manually entered based on the budget year. So for this one, I'll show you an example for this line. So we know that it starts in September of 2023 and ends in September of 2024. So I would put in the average, and then I would click the correct cells. So that is now showing, for the most part, the budget. I understand that this is a little complicated because it's mid-month, but the idea of it is to show about the average effort across that budget year. So this, like I said, it's a little tedious because it's manual, but for now, that is meant to help you see if you're hitting what is actually in the budget. So this, the proposed effort, that is what you have in your budget. So you can find that either in MFIN or in your proposal. So you would want these to be pretty close to each other. Next, budget start date, budget end date. These four are very important. This is what we use often to figure out funding cliffs and to figure out when we need to make changes. So budget start date is self-explanatory, same with budget end date. Speed type end date depends on what type of funding. So if you have automatic carry forward, your speed type does not change from year to year. So that speed type end date is going to be the same as your project end date. If you do not have automatic carry forward, your speed type is going to change each year. So that's what we're doing with Aim Ahead here. So it's going to be the same as that budget end date. So you have to know that about the project, and we will help as well fill in some of these dates. Project end date is the overall end of the project. And then we have a place for notes. So keep on going to the right. We have, this is in gray because you do not need to touch it. So this is what we use for HDM. So this is no matter what, even if someone doesn't have 1 FTE, if they're at 75.75 FTE, this is calibrated to still be out of 100. So these will still add up to 100. So for mine, it is the same because I have 1 FTE, but for others, these numbers would be different. And then over to the right, we have information for the fiscal team to add in any transfers that we have to make after the fact. So you also don't need to enter in anything there. So really, all that you need to look at is from here to the left of the spreadsheet. So that's the overview. So next I'm going to show you how to make a change. So we've set this up so that each month you will get an email at the beginning of the month that'll say it's time for you to input any changes. So whether or not you have changes, if you are certain you don't have any changes, we still would like you to log in and quickly review that month's distribution. So let's say it's August 2nd. I get an email that says it's time to update your funding. That means I'm looking at that current month. So I'm looking at August's distribution. We invite you to look at everything in there, but what we're really asking is August. So I've gotten the email, I've logged in, and I know that I need to make a change for this RC Tech project. So I know that in August, I'm actually going to go down to 20%. So I'll put 20% there, and then I'll put this up to 35%. And for both of those, just like before, I'll turn those red to show the change. And then the added step here is that I'm going to type change. And that is so that when we log in, we can quickly see that a change has been made and where. So let's say you log in and there's no change. So we'll put this back to 20. Back to 35. It's still helpful just to show that you have logged in and checked to just write no change. Great. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to add a speed type. So let's say you have just gotten a new project and you need to input this information. So just like in Excel, we can drag. So I'm going to drag these first three because those are going to be the same. Make sure that those numbers don't drag down because it should stay the same. And then I'm going to input the information for this new grant that I have. So I know it's a grant. I know the lead PI is Manson. I'm going to call it test because I'm not fun. And then I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 as a speed type. Awesome. Not very fun anyway. So this is that. And then what I recommend doing is going all the way over and putting in the rest of the information from your grant. So I know that I am proposed to be 5% on this grant, so I'll put that there. I'll save this for later. And then I know that the grant starts on 9/1/2023 and it ends on 8. I know that the budget change, that the speed type needs to change each year because we don't have automatic carry forward. So I'm going to mark that as the same date. And then I know that it's a 5-year project. So the end of the project is 8/31/2028. Great. Then, so I could calculate this like we did before, but you can also leave that blank. And then I'm going to mark the funding cliff. So I know this ends 8/31/2024. So I'm going to mark that right now. So that we don't accidentally charge to that. So I'll just do that there. And here. All right, and then I would add in my percentage and fix any others. And then make any changes that I made, put them in red. Right. Change. Great, and then I would also put this new speed type in red to show that change. So we recommend that if you have a new speed type, even if it's the same project, like for aim ahead here, instead of just changing the number that's already in there and turning it red, it's much easier for us if you just put in a new line with all the information. It's just visually clearer and it helps us. It'll help with the reporting and pulling from this if we have brand new lines, even if it's the same project. So that is the general overview of the new funding distribution sheets.